Sign it, or don't come home. My father's voice came through my phone like he was reading weather. No anger, no apology. Just a flat command while I sat on the metal steps outside the Navy clinic, my right hand wrapped in gauze, my left hand shaking from a stress tremor I couldn't control. I said, "Dad, I'm on limited duty. I can't handle this right now." He didn't lower his tone. "This isn't paperwork. This is family." Behind me, the automatic doors hissed open. A corpsman called my last name again. I didn't move. If I went back inside, the doctor would write anxiety in my record. If I stayed out here, my chain of command would wonder why I missed my appointment. Either way, my career was on the line. I stared at the PDF he'd sent. A voluntary allotment authorization. My pay form. My signature already typed in a script font. My monthly base pay listed like a meal plan. Destination account. Not mine. I asked, "Why is my name on something I didn't sign?" My father exhaled, like I was slow. "Your sister set it up. We need it. For the house. For the bills. For your future." My pulse kicked hard. Unauthorized changes to pay records could trigger an investigation. Investigations could touch my clearance. Clearance was everything. I said, "Dad, you can't do this. Not to me." He gave a small laugh, the kind he used when I was a teenager and tried to argue. "You always take things too personal. You're strong. You'll be fine." The corpsman called my name louder. I watched a couple walk past me, holding hands, not even looking. I felt like a bulkhead people moved around. I said, "I need you to stop. I need you to tell her to stop." His answer was colder than the wind cutting under my uniform blouse. "If you don't sign it, don't bother coming home on leave. I'm done being embarrassed in front of the family." That was the moment I understood. They weren't scared of losing me. They were scared of losing access to me. If you've ever been told to endure because you're the strong one, you'll understand this hit like, so this reaches the right people. I didn't cry. Not outside the clinic. I hung up, slid the phone into my pocket, and walked back inside like I was reporting to muster. The doc asked questions. I answered short. Yes. No. Sleeping? Not great. Appetite? Fine. Panic? No. I wasn't going to hand anyone a reason to mark me unstable. On the way out, my phone buzzed. My sister. Marla. She didn't open with hello. "Dad said you're being difficult." "I'm not signing a fake allotment," I said, still walking. "It's not fake," she replied. Her voice was smooth, practiced, like she'd learned to argue without sounding like she was arguing. "It's temporary. We're moving money around so the mortgage doesn't fall behind." I stopped under the flagpole. The base flag snapped hard. I stared at it and felt stupid, because I'd sworn to defend strangers, but I was about to get robbed by my own blood. "Why can't you move your own money around?" I asked. A pause. Then she went soft. "Because Dad's health isn't good. He won't say it, but the bills are stacking up. We're trying to protect the family name. We're trying to protect you, too." Protect me. That phrase always came wrapped in a leash. "Send me the bills," I said. "You don't need to see everything," she answered. "You're deployed half the time. You wouldn't understand how hard it is here." I understood plenty. I understood accountability. I understood when something didn't add up. Marla kept going. "We're doing this because we love you, because you're away serving and we're holding things down. Take my name off it," I said. Her tone sharpened, just a notch. "If you make this a problem, you'll hurt Dad. Is that what you want? After everything he's done for you?" There it was. The gilt blade slid in neat. I didn't answer. I watched a junior sailor drag a sea bag across the lot, exhausted but moving anyway. I felt that in my bones. Back in my room, I logged into my pay. My last allotment change date was yesterday. I hadn't been on a government computer yesterday. I'd been on the watch bill. I called DFAS. The rep's voice turned cautious. "Ma'am, an allotment was submitted with a scanned signature. It cleared." "From where?" I asked. "I can't see the IP," she said, "but it was processed as authorized." Authorized. That word tasted wrong. I pulled my LES. My net pay was already lower, not by a little, by enough that my automatic payments would bounce in 2 weeks. Late fees, credit hits, questions during my next security review. I messaged my father one line, "Remove the allotment today." He replied 10 minutes later, "Stop being dramatic. This is for family." That night we had late maintenance. I worked with my hand wrapped, pretending it didn't hurt. In the fluorescent hum, I kept seeing the typed signature on the form. My name, stolen and turned into a tool. At 2300, an email hit my inbox. Subject: Family Financial Plan. Attachment: a budget. My pay listed under Support. Marla listed under Manager. A note at the bottom: if she resists, remind her of Dad's condition. It wasn't a plan. It was a script. I didn't sleep. I opened my Qualls notebook and wrote dates and times instead of diagrams. Who called? Who texted? What they said. I screenshot everything. I saved the PDF with metadata. I forwarded the email to a separate address. Around 0400, I noticed something small and wrong. The destination account on the allotment form had the last 4 digits Marla used years ago, but the bank name wasn't hers. I zoomed in. It was a bank I'd never heard of. If this is already giving you a bad feeling, comment line so I know I'm not the only one seeing it. And that's when I realized this wasn't about a mortgage at all. It was about control, and they'd started long before yesterday. The next morning I went to admin, with my cover tucked under my arm, and my face set neutral. In uniform, people listen when you're calm. They get nervous when you're emotional. I wasn't going to give my family the satisfaction of me looking unstable. The yeoman behind the counter glanced at my bandaged hand. "You all right, petty officer?" "Fine," I said. "I need to see who submitted an allotment change under my name." His eyebrows lifted. "That's usually done through my pay." "Someone did it," I said. "Not me," he typed. The keyboard clicks were the only sound. Then he looked up and lowered his voice. It came through as a paper submission. Not online. Someone faxed it. Faxed. Who still faxes things? He slid a printout toward me. Header line, a local number. Not a base number. A civilian number with an area code from back home. My throat went tight. "Can I get a copy?" He hesitated. "This might become an investigation." "It already is," I said. He printed the submission record and stamped it "True Copy." The stamp felt like a lifeline. Outside, I sat in my car and stared at the fax number. I didn't call it. Calling is messy. I did a reverse lookup through a paid database. The number came back registered to a print and ship shop. That was the first new secret. The allotment wasn't filed from my father's house. It was filed from a place you can walk into with cash and leave no name. I texted Marla one sentence. "Where did you fax my paperwork?" She replied fast, "Don't start. You're paranoid." Then another, "Dad's blood pressure is up. Thanks." Microtension. The squeeze behind my ribs. The familiar pressure of being made responsible for someone else's body. At lunch, I sat in the galley and pretended to eat. My phone sat next to my tray like a grenade. A message popped up from a number I didn't recognize. It read, "Hey, it's Kyle. Can we talk?" Kyle was my ex-husband. I hadn't heard from him in 8 months. The last time, he'd asked if I could help with rent because he was between things. I'd said no. He'd called me heartless. Then he vanished. Now he wanted to talk. If your gut just tightened like mine did, tap like some people weaponize family and love the same way. I didn't answer him. I didn't block him either. Blocking tells people they got under your skin. Silence tells them nothing. That afternoon, my command master chief pulled me aside. "Your name came up on a routine financial screening." He tapped a folder. "An allotment to an outside account. Significant. You report any change in financial status?" "I didn't authorize it," I said. His eyes stayed on mine. "That's a serious statement." "I know," I said. "I'm handling it." He nodded once. "Handle it fast." I don't care about family drama. I care about mission readiness. Don't let this bleed into your watch. "Yes, Master Chief." Walking out, my legs felt heavy. Not fear, pressure. Because I knew what they were risking for me. My clearance, my rate, my reputation. That night, I called my father. One last attempt to get him to be a parent instead of an accomplice. He answered with the TV loud in the background. "Dad," I said, "I have the submission record. It was faxed from a print shop." He made a dismissive sound. "Marla's busy. She did what she had to do." "Did you sign anything?" I asked. A pause. Then he said, "You're acting like we stole from you." "You did," I said. "And you forged my signature." His tone slid into wounded offense. "You're calling your own sister a criminal? After she's been taking care of me? You should be sending money anyway." "It's the right thing. There are legal ways," I said. "You could have asked." "We did ask," he snapped. "And you said send the bills like we're strangers. That's not how family works." "Family doesn't commit fraud," I said. He lowered his voice like it was wisdom. "Life isn't a checklist. Sometimes you sacrifice. For family, for your future." "What future?" I asked. "If this triggers a clearance issue, I'm done." He ignored that and kept building the story. "Marla told me you've been spending money on yourself. You could cut back. You could be less selfish." It was a lie. They were shaping me into the villain. I said, "Remove the allotment tonight or I'm reporting it." His voice went ice. "If you report your own family, you'll destroy us." "What about what you're doing to me?" I asked. "You'll be fine," he said. "You're strong." Then he hung up. I opened the PDF again. The account holder name wasn't Marla's. It was a business name, blurred like someone smudged it on purpose. I ran it through a state registry search. It belonged to a brand new consulting company, formed 2 weeks ago, with a mailing address that matched Kyle's apartment complex. I took the registry page to my rack and stared at it until the letters stopped looking real. The business had one listed officer. Not Marla. Not Dad. A name I didn't recognize. I searched that name. Nothing. No social footprint. No work history. Just a blank. Then I noticed the mailing suite number. It matched Kyle's building, but it wasn't his apartment. It was the leasing office. A cover address. Clean. Easy to deny. My phone buzzed again. Marla this time. A voice memo. She sounded tired on purpose. "Hey," she said. "Dad's been up all night. He's worried about you. You know we wouldn't do anything to hurt you. This is temporary. We just need you to trust us. Because you're not here. And we are. Think about your future, okay?" She ended it with a sigh, like she'd carried me. I saved the memo. I saved the timestamp. I saved the rage I wasn't allowing myself to feel. And then Kyle texted one more line. "It's bigger than the allotment. Please don't make me spell it out." If you want to know how I made sure they couldn't rewrite this story later, subscribe and stay with me. I didn't drive to Kyle's place. Not yet. I went to legal. On base, you learn early. Don't improvise when the stakes are your career. You document. You route. You keep your hands clean. The JAG lieutenant who met with me looked young enough to still get carded. She didn't smile when I sat down. Good. Smiling makes people sloppy. I laid out my screenshots, the stamped copy, the registry record. I didn't editorialize. I kept it like a report. She flipped through, eyes moving fast. "You're saying your sister and father submitted a forged allotment to a business tied to your ex-husband?" "Yes," I said. "And you never gave anyone power of attorney?" "No." She tapped the paper. "This will involve law enforcement." "I know," I said. Microtension. My jaw clenched, not because I wanted revenge, because I could already hear my father's voice. "You'll destroy us." She leaned back. "We can help you file an affidavit with DFAS to reverse the allotment. But the bigger issue is identity theft and potential fraud. Also, this affects your clearance. I recommend you self-report to your security manager today." Self-report. The thing everybody fears, because it feels like handing someone a weapon. But the Navy likes honesty more than surprises. I walked straight to the security office and asked for a meeting. My security manager was a civilian with reading glasses and a face like stone. "I need to report unauthorized financial activity under my name," I said. He didn't blink. "Details." I gave them. Dates. Amounts. Names. Evidence. No tears. No dramatic pauses. When I finished, he said, You did the right thing coming in now. I didn't feel relief. I felt exposed. Like my whole life was suddenly on a table. He added, "We'll annotate your file that you're a victim and you acted promptly. Keep doing what you're doing." That was the second new secret. If you tell the truth early, the system can protect you. If you hide it, the system destroys you. Still, the allotment was only one lane. My credit could already be compromised. Kyle had my full name, my date of birth, my old address. Marla had the rest. That evening, I pulled my credit reports. I expected one new inquiry. There were 6. 2 from online lenders, 1 from a furniture store, 1 from a utility company, and 2 from a medical billing office. Medical. I stared at that line until my eyes burned. Why would someone open a medical account in my name? I called the billing office. The clerk asked for my last 4 and my address. I gave her neither. I asked for general information. She told me, "It's for an ambulance transport." 2 months ago. 2 months ago, I was underway. "What was the pickup location?" I asked. She gave it. A street I recognized. The street my father lived on. My mouth went dry. So that's what they were doing. They weren't just taking my pay. They were using my identity as a shield. That was the moment I stopped hoping they'd back down. If they could stick a medical debt on me, they could stick anything. And if they could do it while I was underway, they could do it again. If that kind of quiet betrayal hits home, comment, document. It helps this reach the right people. I could feel my clock ticking with every new account. I requested my credit file be locked and asked the billing office for the incident report number. I drove off base and bought a cheap accordion file. Back in my room, I labeled sections: pay, credit, medical, communications, legal. It felt like prepping for an inspection. Except the inspector was my own future. Marla texted at 2217. "Dad can't sleep. He's scared. Are you happy?" Kyle texted, "Please." I didn't mean for it to get like this. At 2305, my phone rang from an unknown number. A woman said, "This is collections. We're calling about an unpaid balance." The machine was already moving. I told her, "This is identity theft. I'm active duty. Put a dispute note in your system. We'll need documentation," she said. "You'll get it," I replied. After I hung up, I sat on my floor and stared at my hands. One wrapped, one trembling. I thought about the word service and how my family used it like a coupon. I opened Kyle's last message and finally replied, "Meet me in a public place tomorrow. Bring proof. If you lie, I walk." He responded immediately, "Okay. Coffee shop on Maple. Maple. Near my father's church. Controlled." I saved that text like it was evidence, because it was. Then I opened a map. Maple sat 3 blocks from my father's church and 1 block from a copier store. Convenient. For them. I called the coffee shop and asked a simple question. "Do you have cameras inside?" The woman on the phone said, "We do, but we don't release footage without police." Good. That meant Kyle wasn't planning a private apology. He was planning a performance, something he could later twist into, "She agreed." Micro tension. My heart rate climbed, then steadied. Breath in, breath out, control. I drafted an email to my security manager titled, "Additional Contact Attempt." I included Kyle's number and the planned meeting location. Then, I drafted a second email to legal. Request guidance on civilian contact tied to fraud. I didn't send either yet. I queued them, ready. Off detail number 2. Kyle assumed I'd be alone. He wrote, "Come by yourself." Like he still had a vote. I stared at that line until it stopped being a trigger and became a plan. If they wanted a meeting, they'd get one, just not the kind they could control. I also checked my bank app and saw a new authorized user request pending. It had been started, then abandoned, like someone tested the lock and walked away. At 0530, I ran laps on the track. Cold air, rhythm, 1 foot, then the other. On my 3rd lap, I made a decision. I wasn't meeting Kyle on his ground. I was going to bring the ground to me. And I knew exactly where to start. I took leave the clean way. No drama. Family administrative issue. That's all my chain of command needed. 2 days later, I was in my hometown, parked across from the print and ship shop. Civilian clothes, cap low. Not to hide, to observe. Inside, the air smelled like toner and cheap candy. A teenager behind the counter chewed gum and stared through me. "Do you keep fax logs?" I asked. "Yeah," he said, pointing at a binder. "Names and numbers. People lie." I showed him the submission record. "This was sent from here." He flipped pages, found the date, and slid the binder toward me. The name written in block letters was mine. My phone number, too. Except whoever wrote it added an extra digit at the end, like a sloppy disguise. "Cameras?" I asked. He called the manager. 10 minutes later, we were in the back office, watching grainy footage. Marla, hair done, smiling. Feeding papers into the fax machine like it was coupons. Signing my name without looking down. Handing the clerk cash. No misunderstanding. No mix-up. Just choice. The manager copied the clip to a drive and wrote a short statement. I thanked her and left. That was the third new secret. I didn't just have suspicions. I had my sister on video forging me. I went straight to the courthouse and filed a police report in person. The deputy taking it asked, "You sure you want this?" "It's family." "Yes," I said. And I meant it. Then I drove to my father's house. I used my old key and walked in like I still belonged there. The living room smelled like lemon cleaner and stale coffee. My father sat in his recliner, TV loud. Marla sat at the table with a laptop and a neat stack of envelopes. She looked up and went still for half a second. Then her face rearranged into concern. "Oh my God. You didn't tell us you were coming." I set my accordion file on the table. "We're talking." My father muted the TV. "What is this?" I slid out the stamped allotment copy, then the registry printout, then the credit inquiries, then a note with the collections call time. Marla gave a tiny laugh. "You flew all the way here over money?" "It's fraud," I said. My father's voice rose. "Lower your tone in my house." I kept mine steady. "Whose name is on the house refinance, Dad?" Marla answered for him. "Mine. Because his credit isn't great. Temporary. For family. Micro-tension." My father didn't deny it. He just stared, like I'd broken a rule by asking. "And you needed my pay to cover it," I said. Marla spread her hands. "You have steady income. You're not even here most of the time. We were protecting your future. Protecting my future by stealing it. Show me the medical bills," I said. Marla's smile tightened. "You're obsessed." "Because there's an ambulance bill in my name from this street," I said. "Explain that." My father jumped in too fast. "It was a mistake." End quote. Marla leaned forward. "Dad had a scare. He didn't want you worrying. We used your name so they'd treat him faster. For his future. For your peace. That was the fourth new secret. They truly believed they were entitled to my identity." I said, "You used my name so you wouldn't have to pay." My father stood, slow, like he could still intimidate me with posture. "You think you're better than us because you wear a uniform." "No," I said. "I think I'm safer when I follow the law." Marla's voice dropped, sharp now. "If you do this, people will talk. The church will hear. You'll be the daughter who arrests her own family." I pulled out my phone and played the print shop video. Marla on screen, signing my name. My father's mouth opened. Nothing came out. My father's eyes didn't follow the video. They followed me, like I was wrong. Marla whispered, "Where did you get that?" "Enough," I said. "The allotment gets reversed today. You sign the affidavit. You stop using my identity." Her eyes flashed. "You can't make me." "I can," I said. "I already filed a report." Marla tried to recover first. She put on that careful tone people use to sound reasonable. "Listen," she said. "You're tired. You're injured. Let's not make decisions while you're emotional." I wasn't emotional. I was steady. That scared her. I pulled out the fax log printout with the extra digit on my number and tapped it. "You couldn't even copy my phone number correctly." My father's eyes flicked to Marla, then away. Off detail. He knew, and he still chose silence. Marla snapped, "You're nitpicking." "And I'm documenting," I said. I asked for her laptop. She laughed like it was a joke. So I reached for the envelopes instead. Most were addressed to manager, family consulting. One was addressed to me, misspelled, with a return label from a notary service. My throat tightened. They weren't just moving money. They were preparing paperwork that needed a stamp. I held it up. What appointment did you have this week? Marla's eyes went flat. You're invading privacy. You invaded my identity, I said. My father rubbed his forehead and tried the soft approach. We're overwhelmed. Your sister's been keeping the lights on. You're away, and we're drowning. This is just a bridge. A bridge built out of my name. Marla raised her voice. We didn't put your clearance at risk. You did, by making it a big deal. That was her tell. Blame the victim for noticing the wound. Silence. Then Marla's shoulders sagged, just a little. And she said the part I hadn't even asked yet. Kyle helped set it up, she muttered. He knows forms. He said it was easy. My stomach rolled. So my ex was involved, and she said it like it was normal. On the table, beneath the envelopes, I saw a sealed packet with my name misspelled. The header showed through the paper. Power of attorney. My father reached for it. Too late. If you were watching this unfold, what do you think they plan to do with that document? Drop your guess in the comments. I met Kyle on my terms. Not the coffee shop. Not the church parking lot. I picked the lobby of a federal building downtown, under cameras and a security desk. He showed up with a paper cup and a face that tried to look sorry. You look good, he said. Sit, I replied. He sat, eyes flicking to the guard, like he already knew this wasn't going his way. I slid the registry printout toward him. Explain the consulting account. He swallowed. Marla asked me. She said you were stressed. She said you wanted help handling money while you were away. I never said that. He nodded too fast. I know. I thought it was temporary. They said your dad was sick. I watched his hands. He wasn't confident. He was trapped. Show me what you filed, I said. He hesitated, then opened a folder on his phone. Templates, scans, a copy of my old driver's license from our marriage, and a PDF labeled POA, draft, power of attorney. My name on every page. A signature line left blank, but my initials typed like a stamp. Kyle said, It was just a draft. I never got you to sign. But you tried to use it anyway, I said. He looked down. Marla said she could match your signature from old paperwork. New secret number 5 wasn't the allotment. It was the next step. He showed me an email chain from a burner address asking a bank how to update an authorized user while the member is deployed. The reply listed requirements. POA, ID, notarization. Kyle had written back, We can provide. I took photos of the screen with my phone, making sure timestamps were visible. Then I stood. He grabbed my sleeve. Please don't ruin me. I pulled my arm free. You already tried to ruin me. Back on base, I kept moving like I was on a checklist. DFAS fraud packet filed. Allotment reversed request submitted. Credit frozen. Active duty alert placed. Disputes opened. I sent my security manager the new evidence and logged it as an update. Then I did the part that felt like cutting a cord. I removed my father and Marla from my emergency contacts and beneficiary forms. I changed my next of kin paperwork. I told my command, in writing, that no one had authority to act for me. A week later, my father left a voicemail. His voice sounded small, like he was practicing sadness. Baby, he said, we can fix this if you just calm down. Think about the family. Think about your future. Same words, different mask. 2 weeks after that, DFAS confirmed the allotment reversal and repayment schedule. My security manager emailed, No adverse action. I stared at that line until it finally sank in. My career wasn't bleeding anymore. On a Friday, my father drove to my base and showed up at the gate. He told the sentry he was here for his daughter. The sentry called me. I met my father outside, in uniform, in public. He held an envelope. Let's handle this privately, he said. You can say it out here, I replied. His eyes darted around, embarrassed. Marla's under stress. She didn't mean harm. She was trying to keep the house, keep us together. Why didn't you ask me? I said. Why didn't you respect me? He stared at the pavement. Because you always say no. That answer landed harder than any insult. Because it was honest. He lifted the envelope again. Marla wrote an apology. She wants you to withdraw the report. I won't, I said. His face tightened. So you'd rather watch your sister get charged? I looked at him. She'd rather watch me lose my clearance. Micro-tension. His jaw worked. Then he gave me the final truth. Quiet. She's here, he said. You're not. Availability over integrity. I nodded once. Then this is done. I turned and walked back through the gate without touching his envelope. That night, I set my command coin on my desk. Heavy, plain, scratched from being carried. Not a trophy. A reminder that respect is earned through standards, not blood. I gave the detective the video, the registry record, and Kyle's screenshots. I asked for a protective order against anyone using my name again. A month later, Marla was charged with forgery and identity theft. Kyle took a deal and agreed to testify. My father wasn't charged, but his statements were documented. The story didn't belong to them anymore. I didn't celebrate. I felt something quieter. Space. 3 days after the gate visit, the detective called me. He didn't sound surprised. He sounded tired. They tried to notarize something, he said. Your sister scheduled a notary at your dad's address last month. The notary says she presented a driver's license copy and said you were out of town. He refused when you weren't physically there. Off detail, she didn't even realize notaries require the person, not a story. The detective asked if I wanted to add it to the report. Yes, I said. Then I called the bank linked to the consulting account and asked for their fraud department. I didn't beg. I didn't explain my feelings. I gave them facts, in order. The rep went quiet when I mentioned active duty. She asked for my case number. She asked for my email. She asked for the video stills. By the end of the call, the account was flagged, and any transfers were frozen pending review. It wasn't justice. It was containment. That night, I sat with my LES open and rebuilt my budget from zero. No assumptions. No family emergencies. Just numbers I controlled. For the first time in a long time, my chest felt unclenched. I also updated my will, named a fellow sailor as executor, and locked my important documents in a base safe today. If you were in my boots, would you let it slide because they're family? Or would you draw the line even if it burned everything? Tell me why in the comments. I still serve. I still stand watch. But my life is mine now. And the next time someone says, for family, while reaching for what's mine, they'll find empty hands again.